We are live.
Oh boy, are you guys going to be jealous? I got a nice little preview of every drop on the Very Good Show soundboard.
A lot of those were.
Behind the scenes magic for you people.
I forgot where it was on this board. I had to find.
That's Craig, by the way, taunting me. Like, well, I guess you don't want to hear these drops. I've got a lot of them.
I got so many.
A little peek behind the madness that ensues here, and just how dumb I am in general. They're doing work on my house here, so there's a constant, every 20 minutes or whatever. There's like 3 loud knocks on the wall. And every time without fail, I look up and oh, someone at the door. And no one has ever knocked on our door, mind you. But it gets me every time.
It's hard to get to door, isn't it?
Well, it can be. It depends. I have a moat outside my house for anyone that tries to get near me.
The drawbridge and everything.
Yeah, that's right. Hello, everybody. This is, of course, the Blind Mike Project, where you guys know I have a policy. Generally, we threw down a couple rules last week. This is a policy, not a rule. I hope Craig's writing it down for the company handbook.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, I say KMS stuff. I talk about when I'm on KMS. But there were a couple, and I'll be on tomorrow, so I'll talk about it then, I'm sure. But there were just a couple things since it just happened, 2 hours ago or whatever. There were a couple things that stood out to me. The Justin stuff I'll probably just talk about tomorrow, mostly. But the one thing that really stood out to me was, so at the end of the show, Alex Bennet is on Chris Klemmer's trivia team or whatever.
Yeah.
The aspect that I found fascinating, obviously they were going off on Alex and all of that. The part that I found fascinating, and this really sums up why I've said a couple times, I've kind of been annoyed at Chris's act or behavior, whatever it is he's doing, the character that he's become has annoyed me a little bit. And today was a perfect encapsulation of that, because while all this is going on, there's a huge podcast talking about essentially you live, so people are reacting to it. 3 people that work right next to you called into the show or tried to call in. Alex, fucking Jeff Lowe, and Rico Bosco are all talking about it at the very least. And it centers around you. And while that's happening, Chris tweets out, hey, go grab some Barstool merch. It's that's the part that's weird to me, is he's just abandoning, this question comes up every couple of months or whatever. Why don't you want to work full time for the show or get paid or whatever? And I say every time, it hasn't sunk in with you people, so I'll say it again. I'm very appreciative of what the show does for me and has done for me. And I look at going on there to promote as payment. I think that's a pretty huge platform that is getting new listeners all the time. So I think being able to say, hey, come subscribe to my thing is a pretty big deal. And I'm also aware that you guys watching right now come from that show, come from KMS. Well, we've confirmed at least one from WATP, but the rest of you come from KMS, obviously. And I'm hyper aware of that. So maybe sometimes too aware, but I'm very aware and try and pay respect to that all the time, which is why it would be weird if today, for whatever reason, I was the target of that anger. It would be so bizarre if while that was happening, I tweeted, hey, these Gearhead tank tops are awfully comfy, folks. Perfect for your summer wear. Go out and grab one. Isn't that bizarre to you? Isn't that strange for someone who likes a show like KMS? And I'm sure has been on there. I'm sure Chris was on there at some point, or at least on, one of the Minifan shows or whatever, when this topic has come up. Howard Stern changing has gotten brought up from time to time and is mocked because it's such a, wild, disparaging difference from what it used to be. And yet a guy who likes a show that would mock something like that is now just ignoring that stuff. That's the part that's weird to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it is weird. Get involved. It probably would help his his interactions and traction.
Of course it would. Of course it would. And listen, I'm not a confrontational guy, as you guys know. So I'm not even saying, get into the weeds, give him shit, but fight back. I'm saying acknowledge it. That's all. Don't pretend it's not. Don't stick your head in the sand and pretend it's not happening. That's the weird part to me.
Yeah, like Alex Bennet posted a tweet that was like,
she literally said, "I'm trying to trade Klemmer."
Oh no, she even
so just react to that. React to that alone. You know what I mean? Like whatever. People are literally talking about you on the internet. You work for a site that feeds off of behind the scenes drama. You're supposed to react. That's your job to react to that.
That too, but she also posted a tweet where she was like drafting my apology email to Kirk or whatever. Right. If you just commented and be like, "Oh, I wouldn't do that," he doesn't read them.
Right. Yeah, it's not going to help you or something. Yeah, exactly.
Like something small.
Just you're exactly right. Me and Craig are on the same page as usual. Yeah, like it's weird to not acknowledge it, I guess, is all I'm saying. Particularly when you come from that world and everything you're doing is from that world. If you're writing blogs, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if I moved to the town where an expansion team is? And I like to drink and I like movies. Here's a list of movies. Like, that's fine to do, in my opinion. But kind of give at least a tip of the cap to where it came from.
Right. Plus, like, even it could have helped those blogs if he inserted video or audio of him coming up with that idea.
Yeah, but even that's different because that's like kind of using KM. I think there's a difference between like using KMS stuff for your own benefit and like paying homage or respect to what it's done for you. You know what I mean? It's a fine line there that he would have to walk. So maybe he just doesn't want to deal with it at all, but it's weird to me.
I don't know. I would have been like, "Oh yeah, I had this idea. It was received poorly, or whatever."
Yeah.
Here's that clip, and then go off on a blog about the topic, not necessarily about that show, but like
right, exactly. But anyways, I'm sure we'll talk more about that and Justin and all that when I'm on tomorrow. But it might be good news that there's a free agent lurking out there in the producer field because Matt from Rhode Island has bailed on us.
What happened?
Well, his wife is filled up with some dumb kid that she's got to push out. It's a real a pain in the ass.
That's now. That's happening?
I guess. So he says. I'm sure I don't even think it's happening. I don't think this guy has sex.
He doesn't come across. He doesn't have the hairline of a guy that has sex. That's for sure.
No, certainly not. No, we wish Matt all the luck in the world, but he will be. It's odd that it happened today, right after the Justin thing, because I texted him. I accidentally deleted an email he sent me that I needed, and I was like, "Hey, could you just send that again? Sorry about that." And he goes, "Oh yeah, no problem. By the way, probably won't be around for a while." And I just thought to myself, if I didn't text you right now, when would I have found that out? But also, I guess shame on me as someone that interacts with this man. No idea the kid was due this week.
I didn't either.
I was like, he's probably got 6 more months or something, right?
It's probably one of those things where like it's happened with Mike too. He's like, "Oh yeah, once my wife has the second kid, I'll be around more, it'll be easier." And I'm in my head having 2 kids already. I'm like, "What fucking planet are you on, dude?"
Right.
I don't think you realize how much time this is gonna take.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll struggle through here at Blind Mike Enterprises. We're losing one of our key pieces, my right-hand man, really.
Yeah.
Our top producer.
Number 1.
Yes. What was the other? Oh, the one other thing I wanted to mention is it does seem odd to leave a giant podcast from a gigantic media company to pursue something in the entertainment field.
See, I mean, he could have probably easily done that under the KMS banner, I would assume.
Right, or even not, where you have well, I mean, like I said, I'll talk about it tomorrow. It just seemed like an odd excuse or reasoning, but who knows?
Yeah, it sounds like something's going on again.
I don't know. Yeah, well,
but who knows?
Good luck, Justin. He's a good man.
I like
So,
Justin a lot.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He deals with a lot, and I can relate to some of it, so I understand. Anyways, we got to get down to business here.
Oh,
Well, I assume you followed my orders and did not watch the video I sent you.
no, I downloaded it and got to the timestamp you sent me.
Good boy. So this is a nice little segue into one of our topics today. This is a song from your guy Kid Rock from back in the day. I believe the song was featured in the classic film Osmosis Jones. Are you familiar?
I've heard of it. The 7-Up guy's in it, isn't it? Isn't he?
I don't know. Chris Rock is in it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
I
maybe
think Louis might be too.
Hmm.
I thought it was a kid's movie. I might be wrong based on the content of this song, but I was listening to the Bonfire, hosted by Big J. Okerson and Dan Soder, and they just happened to be talking about this, and I thought it was a nice segue into a topic I wanted to bring up today. So let's hear this lyric from a Kid Rock song, and I wanted everyone's reaction. Keep in mind, it is from a different time, I guess, so maybe I'm judging it unfairly, but let's hear for yourselves.
Now some people say my mind's blown. I'm cooling like a snow cone. And my cell phone, I'm pagey. Can't call me, just page me. Young ladies, I like them underage. See, some say that's statutory. I say it's mandatory. My story.
What the fuck?
Mother of God!
I like him underage.
And then I don't know if you heard the next part.
I didn't. I was wowing over that one.
Well, you know what? Let's go back and let's let Bob say it himself. And Bob and whoever he's with. Joe C. or
Call me, just page me. Young ladies, I like them underage. See, some say that's statutory. But I say it's mandatory. My story.
Mandatory.
That was Joe C. too.
You have to do it.
That was the midget in Kid Rock's band.
Yes. Well, hey, let's not get problematic ourselves now. The little person.
He called himself that.
Oh, all right. Then it's fine, I guess. I couldn't believe they happened to play it when I was listening earlier today, I think, and I was like, "Good God!" And because I talked to our boy Vinny Paulino about doing another episode of Why You Laughing, and he asked what topics I had in store, and I threw out a few, and one that I want to do in the coming weeks is the Man Show. Are you familiar?
Oh, very.
And so we were talking about it for a minute, and I was just saying it's the Man Show, and there are a bunch of examples from the 90s specifically of the 90s in entertainment are a great example of why we are where we are today, where now you can look at shit and say, fuck this PC culture, everyone's so sensitive, but it's an overcorrection to a mainstream artist saying, hey, statutory, that's for everyone. Let's all do it.
It's mandatory. That's unreal.
So the reason I wanted to bring that song to everyone's attention is I wanted to talk a little about Dane Cook today. Did you see that? Your boy?
I did.
How do you defend these actions?
She was 18.
Was she?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not what I'm hearing.
She's 23. They've been dating for 5 years.
Right. But the stories that have been going around are that she was like hanging at his house when she was 16 or 17 years old. And he would have these parties with underage people. And like in the video that he made saying he got engaged. Mm-hmm. For anyone that doesn't know, Dane Cook is bordering 50 now. I think he's 48 or 49.
I think he is 50.
He might be 50. And just got engaged to a 23-year-old. Do I have that one right?
Yes.
And he said, like, she was my best friend when I met her, and then we started dating. And it's like, well, that's pretty weird for a 45-year-old guy to be best friends with a girl in high school.
Oh, they've been dating since 2018, and she's 23, so she was 19.
Right. Yeah. But did you the story I sent you, or blog, whatever it is, was was suggesting that he would have these parties with a lot of youngsters, which is very weird. Even if he's doing nothing illegal, and like, hey, if you think 18's too young, then have the laws changed, I say. But it's still that's very weird behavior.
Even though Cook and Taylor started dating when she was 18, Taylor first appeared on Cook's Instagram as a guest at one of his infamous game nights in October 2016 when she could have been 17 years old.
That is odd phrasing. Could have been.
Yeah. However, Cook's track record of inviting underage girls to his home did not begin with Taylor. And here's the part where you were just talking about. Dane Cook has a history of hanging out with underage girls at his, quote, game nights.
Very odd, no?
Yeah, that's weird.
And let's listen. You guys know I defend the innocent. So let's say nothing illegal is happening. Just as a concept, let's say there's nothing, nothing sexual going on or anything. He is just friends with these people. That's very bizarre for a 45 or 40 whatever year old guy to be friends with 17-year-olds. Well, what the fuck do you talk about?
Yeah, how is class?
Yeah, you guys, you probably don't remember when I sold out Madison Square Garden because you were 3. But like, what do they possibly relate on?
Nothing. He's probably still horny all the time, and she's young, so she probably is as well. So
listen,
that's probably about where it begins and ends.
It seems like a lovely lady. The attraction is what it is, I suppose. So for a 50-year-old to be attracted to a 23-year-old, I get that. But to want to hang out with a 16-year-old, I can't fathom. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
No.
So, people have been comparing him to Chris D'Elia, which I'm not sure is fair, but
it's not unfair, I don't think.
No, it's not unfair based on what Chris D'Elia actually did. But the problem with this stuff, and the reason I kind of defend a lot of it, is, and the reason I think you should, like when I got into the argument with Kirk, he's like, well, why rank these things? And my logic there is because you can't consider Cosby and Louis and Aziz Ansari all the same thing. You have to differentiate, I think, because otherwise you're calling Aziz Ansari a rapist. which is wild,
Right.
So D'Elia is so the problem with that stuff is people now think of D'Elia as a pedophile when he's something different, and you could say equally as creepy, but possibly not illegal, which there is a difference,
I don't think it's creepy, but I don't think it's as creepy as being an official pedophile. He at least is waiting.
Yeah, he's a talent scout.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got a keen eye for who's going to make it to the majors.
Yeah.
He's by the way, do you know there's some woman, Alice Hamilton, I think her name is. She did an entire special about Chris D'Elia.
Oh God.
There was some stuff that came up this week where like she has screenshots of him. It's hard to say. I even don't really want to talk about it because it's very vague and it might not be real because there's no indication that it's actually him. But there are these screenshots of DMs where he's going back and forth with this woman and then seemingly pretends to be his girlfriend or wife and threatens to kill the girl.
What?
I think I was going to send it to you, but I think she deleted the tweet, so I couldn't find him anywhere. But it was very weird. But my point is, the woman who sent out these screenshots, Alice Hamilton, is a comedian who did a special, not about like the Me Too movement, about specifically Chris D'Elia, which is very weird.
Alice Hamilton, Chris D'Elia screenshots. See what that brings.
You have
me. No, I'm just look. Someone's got them.
True.
I'll have to look.
That's all right. I couldn't find them either. But yeah, very, very weird stuff going on in the world of comedy. I prefer to laugh. Remember that?
Yeah.
Where we could all just have a laugh.
When was the screenshots from? Because I found possibly something from July, late July.
That would make sense, I think. So she just tweeted about it recently, I guess. But based on, I looked up like her name and Crystalia, and it seemed like all the tweets were replies to something that had been deleted.
Mm-hmm.
So she may have just tweeted it, but the screenshots could be old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll read it. Refresh my. Read it to me here, and I'll tell you if it's correct.
Here's a list of things he wants to do and how much he's going to pay her to do each thing.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Here's the here's the list.
Okay.
Kiss, $500. Fingering, $500. Here comes a big
Those
one.
seem odd to be on the same scale.
BJ, $23,000.
Okay. He's a strange negotiator.
Suck balls, $500.
Okay.
Wait, both of you talk dirty, $500.
Boy, she's willing to do a lot for a reasonable rate up until suck a dick.
I think this
or is
is
this Dalia proposing to her?
This is Dalia, I think.
Huh.
Gag on
By the
him.
way, while we're speaking of Crystalia, I'm told the Warthog texted me yesterday. Is he playing the Wang Theater?
It sounds. Didn't he have something booked before all this even happened?
Well, maybe, but still, I think that's like 2,000 or 3,000 seats.
Yeah.
Why does Crystalia have fans? It's baffling to me.
I liked his earlier stuff for sure.
Of course you did. I forgot.
White Male Black Comic was not bad special. That was before he got heavy into the weird dumb noises and he'd actually make jokes.
Yes. Well, those are classic bits.
I've
I've said this before, but Chris D'Elia took over. It doesn't surprise me that you're a big D'Elia fan because he is kind of the modern day Dane Cook in a way.
Saturday,
I've
November.
always said that about his comedy, and now we know that about his sexual preferences as well.
He has two shows November 12th at the Wang Theater.
That's crazy. I think that's bigger than
It is.
the Wilbur.
It is.
Why? Why does he have fans?
That many too. I don't. It's college girls.
Because even if those went on sale before the allegations and the pandemic and all of that, even still, that's too many. I might have to stand outside there and just interview people coming out. Why did you come to this show?
We do want to do that.
Kind of now. It just came to me, but
That'd be actually pretty funny.
what are you doing here? Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. We should do that.
I'm going to show your mom that you were here. What do you think her thoughts will be?
Oh, please, not on camera. I don't want to be. I just came here for a few laughs. By the way,
how gross is his dick if it's going to take $23,000?
it's a great question. Speaking of Chris D'Elia, I think I'm finally committed, and I think I'm willing to give away some tickets as well. There might be one extra one because I was going to bring that from Rhode Island, but October 1st, if the gearheads are in, then we're going to see Brendan Schaub. Yep. You're in?
Yeah, I think, was it me, you, and Mike, I guess, are left?
Well, I was going to say me, you, and Matt, but yeah, I guess if Mike wants in, he can take his place. But we'll give away, let's say, 3 or 4 tickets to Good Gearhead. So if you're subscribed at blindmike.net, then you can possibly join us. We'll give away 3 tickets to subscribers to see Brendan Schaub. This isn't official because I haven't bought the tickets yet, so I just have to make sure they're still available. I know Schaub sells out pretty quickly.
He does, sadly.
I know.
Is that Laugh Boston?
Yeah. So if you don't want to win the tickets and you just want to go with us, you're also welcome to do that, I guess.
Boxy.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we should go.
Box Eating Dad says he'll pay $4,000 to hang out with Neck.
All right. Well, hopefully your name gets pulled. I got to say, he's got a good shot, Box Eating Dad.
Man, Delia's fucking weird. Yeah, there's no way to prove that these are actually him, though.
Yeah, that was the weird thing. And then it gets into like threats and shit like that. So it is very strange. But this woman, Alice Hamilton, is really, really going after him. But listen, I'm not the guy. I don't have the mind or the wherewithal to really be taking down, pedophiles and the global elites. But you know who does is the great Alex Jones. And people like KFC, ninnies, little tattletales like KFC are trying to get him deplatformed. Have you been following that at all? Does Jerry give a shit about it?
We talked about it a little bit, but it's like, I mean, once you see the judge and see what happens, you're like, what are you gonna do?
Well, can we play his great victory first before we play his embarrassing moment?
The Epstein one.
Yeah. This is where he really puffs out his chest.
You sent me the longer one, but the one you're talking about is only a couple seconds long. So let me find that.
Yeah.
That one I don't have in our exchange here.
Oh, well, whatever one I sent you is fine.
Okay. I'll play that for a second while I look for the other one, because I definitely can find that, because that was everywhere.
Yeah.
He got railroaded, huh? 45 million.
It's insane. And fucking you have people like KFC who just want to be applauded by liberals. That's all that is, by the way, because Kevin knows even less than me about the case. Like, he doesn't fucking know anything about it. He hasn't looked into 1 second of what Alex Jones said. He has no idea. A guy like that just reads headlines and said, "Oh, he talked about Sandy Hook. You should deplatform him," which is really a brilliant thing for Kevin Clancy to say, who has said some wild shit. And, rightfully so. He should be able to say crazy shit on his show, which is why it's insane for guys like Kevin who say dumb shit like the Tiger Woods car crash is a hoax and Colin Kaepernick is an ISIS. It's wild for you to then be like, hey, I absolutely think you should have to pay $45 million if someone doesn't like something you said.
I don't know. How do they even come up with that price?
I don't know. I never know, really. I guess it's just...
Sorry, go ahead.
I guess it's just a negotiation in a way where I'm sure they asked for an exorbitant amount of money. And then it was settled to somewhere. Was it settled at a court, or was that just the ruling?
I think that was the ruling.
Good God. Yeah, I have no idea how that works, really.
If it's a settle, I mean, he's going to sue his own lawyers and then not have to pay a fucking dime. But actually, we'll start with the Epstein one.
All right, good.
Here we go.
Things you've been talking about a lot recently on your show, even within the past couple of months, is your allegation that government officials are aiding in pedophilia, child trafficking, and the grooming of children, right?
What do you mean, like what Jeffrey Epstein did with the Clintons?
Oh, the version I sent you had like cheers afterwards and everything, which is what I wanted. But that was because that was Alex Jones just puffing out his chest and like just a slam dunk. He thought he was in on that one.
Oh no, that was a great line. But you're thinking of that video that's spliced with the UFC reaction.
I like that one. I think Royce tweeted one out where it's the Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre song. Da 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 da. So yeah, Alex Jones thought he was cruising on that one, but unfortunately, not so much. By the way, speaking of our boy Royce, our other boy Carl from Who Are These Podcasts is in trouble. Who knows? Stuttering John might win $45 million from this poor bastard. So we had Carl on to talk about his lawsuit with Stuttering John. So, and it was a good episode. So go back to the Patreon and check that out. You can find that at blindmike.net if you'd be so kind as to support the show. That's also where you can win these Brendan Schaub tickets. Isn't that exciting?
How we're gonna do that? We'll figure it out.
I guess I'm just gonna buy them if there's any left, and I'll do this though. This I can guarantee if I get the tickets. I'll pull the old blind card, reserve us a table right up front.
That'd be bad because it's just gonna be him hearing me go, "What the fuck is that?" No heckling.
Yeah. This is a no heckling thing. We're there to, as Carl says, observe and report.
Observe and
We're here
report.
to just let the laughs soak in.
We're not here to ruin the man's career, just to make fun of it.
That's exactly right. But yeah, that Stuttering John story I find fascinating. So go to the Patreon to check out Carl and the shit that he's dealing with, because people are pretty fucking insane. And it's I've heard I think Bo Burnham was the first person I heard say this, and I've heard it several times since. But Bo Burnham said that basically social media in 20 years will be viewed the same way as cigarettes. Like the equivalent of us saying now, like, your doctor smoked in the office would be like, your therapist had Twitter. Like, that's fucking weird. Like, I think at some point, just generationally, people are going to learn how to navigate social media. But you look at guys like Schaub and Stuttering John, like they're not equipped for it.
Jesus Christ. Sorry.
And believe me, I've had my moments, which is why, like with Justin today, I sympathize what he's going through and everything. But also, I think Justin wouldn't, if you were mean to Justin on social media, he might not like you. But I don't think he's going to take you to court.
No,
the
definitely.
way these two idiots have tried.
Correct.
Yeah. So this was the big moment that everyone was talking about from the Alex Jones trial, where speaking of Chris D'Elia, it's not dissimilar from telling Chris D'Elia that you could screen record Snapchats.
Mm-hmm.
I think Alex Jones was internally giving the same look that D'Elia did in that moment when this happened in the courtroom.
So you did get my text messages, and it said you didn't. Nice trick. It's just not.
Yes, Mr. Jones. Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones, did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then,
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
no,
Did you know this happened?
no, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over. And just,
Just
And you
answer the
said,
question.
you said in your deposition, you searched your phone. You said you pulled down the text, did the search function for Sandy Hook. That's what you said, Mr. Jones, correct?
and I had several different phones with this number, but I did, yeah. Well, of course, I mean, that's why you got it.
No, Mr. Jones. That's
All
not
right. That's
My lawyer
That's
sent it to you.
so what Alex Jones is very good at.
Jones,
What the fuck? Sorry. Wouldn't stop. It wouldn't stop.
What Alex Jones is very good at is ranting unopposed and manipulating things to prove his point. And that's not even to say he's wrong about things. I'm just saying, like, that's what he's great at. Like, getting people, arguing unopposed and just ranting in a way that, kind of convinces people of what he's saying. To see him opposed where someone has him dead to rights it's great theater, because the guy is saying one thing. He's saying, you sent me these text messages, and Alex Jones goes, I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, actually, Alex, it's not at all what you're saying, you doofus.
He got fucking railroaded. That judge is so biased. It's not even funny.
Yeah, so that seems like one I didn't I paid very, very little attention to the case.
Hmm.
Which I'm surprised it's not one that guys like Jerry and like Tucker Carlson are talking about more.
We did talk about it, but not like it didn't dominate an episode.
It seems like that would be right up their alley, defending Alex Jones. But the thing I find, strange and dangerous, frankly, is that this is clearly it's not dissimilar from the FBI raiding Trump's house. I'm not the guy to comment on that. I don't know a lot about it, but it does seem very politically motivated, and if it wasn't Donald Trump, it wouldn't be happening. That sort of a thing. If this wasn't Alex Jones, this wouldn't be happening, and he certainly wouldn't have been found guilty of whatever this is. So when actual lawsuits or criminal cases or whatever are being decided by public opinion, that's incredibly dangerous.
I don't know what
That's dangerous for everyone, the legal system, everything.
What's his net worth? Do you have any idea? I'm looking it up right now.
I think we looked it up the other day. I think it was like 40 million or something.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, so they're taking him for quite literally everything he's got.
No, he's worth between 135 and 270 million.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good for InfoWars.
Yeah, I actually now that I was thinking about it, we did actually spend a good amount of one episode on there, and part of it was looking through the InfoWars store online because they make like a ton of money. And Jerry,
I think, it seems like it would be up Jerry's alley to be like, hey, what the fuck is going on here? Because that's, as much as fucking dumb fuck Clancy doesn't see it, that's dangerous for everybody. That's dangerous for people that don't say 1% of something as crazy as, Parkland was fake. But even if you say something mildly controversial, now the precedent has been set that, hey, if you say something that leads to your followers bothering the people involved, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even that Alex Jones defamed their character, although I guess in a way you could argue that he did. But what it's really about is that his followers reacted to what he was saying and then went on to, I don't know, harass the families or whatever they did. So to me, I would ask Kevin, why is that at all different? Why is it even remotely different from when someone tweets something, Dave Portnoy responds and says, this is bullshit. They're lying about Barstool. And then Stoolies, get into their DMs and Twitter replies and say horrible things. And then that person says, these people are harassing me. Because I don't see it as different at all. And now there's legal precedent for, Julie DeCaro or whoever to go after you financially. And it's been a pretty lofty price. So basically what Kevin tweeted the other day is, I am signing Barstool Sports up to pay $45 million lawsuits when we say crazy shit about people.
Box Eating Dad says, I'm sitting here looking like a dumbass because in my opinion, Parkland sounds like an amusement park.
Well, it was one wild and crazy ride one day. So in a way, you're not wrong, Box Eating Dad.
That, I mean, obviously what he said was shitty, and I mean, it's
idiotic. It's crazy. And he said he was wrong. He is now, I mean, that's probably because of the lawsuit, but he has since come out and said he was wrong about that.
He said he was wrong. He said he was wrong before the lawsuit.
He did, right? Was that Megyn Kelly thing the first time he said it?
He said it before that. I know he said it on Rogan.
Yeah.
He said it a bunch of times. He's like, yeah, that was stupid. But
even that could have been, who knows? That could have been because he felt the heat coming or something. Who knows? But even if he has pure intentions or impure intentions, he said he was wrong about that. And my point is simply, you should be able to be wrong about things.
Definitely.
And that's go ahead.
The biggest thing that they were trying to get him for was like sending people after the families, which he definitely didn't do.
He didn't do. That's why I was looking through all weekend. I was looking for the quote or the audio clip where he says, go after these families or whatever fucking crazy shit he says. I forgot I can somewhat do an Alex Jones impression, and I did not display it there. Go after the families. I still can't do it. Fuck. But my point is, you should be able to be completely wrong about shit as long as you're not enacting violence in any way. If he said harass the families, or even if he said tweet mean shit at the families, then I would say, you know what? Fuck him. Who cares? But he didn't do any of that. He just stated an opinion, a crazy opinion, and he was wildly wrong about it. You should be able to do that. And that's my defense of Alex Jones on everything. When people say, oh, he's so dangerous, he should be deplatformed and this and that. It's like, no. You should be educating people to be smarter than Alex Jones or at least be smarter than to be manipulated by Alex Jones. You know what I mean? Like Patrice had what I believe is a brilliant idea. And I'm amazed, hasn't in some way gotten more, hasn't been instituted anywhere really. He basically said you shouldn't have sensitivity training. You should have insensitivity training. You should teach people how to deal with insensitive assholes rather than scold the people who are misbehaving. Now, of course, you can't have maniacs going around the worst workplace harassing people. That's obvious. But there is an element of needing to, and, Kirk and Dave were talking about it today with, younger generations, and I would probably be lumped into that, I'm sure. But, there is an element of not knowing how to react when, our backs are against the wall or there's any kind of pressure or we're criticized. Like the way kids are coddled now, and it's only going to get worse with, younger generations, like the way people are coddled cause you to have things like sensitivity training and have lawsuits when there's something you don't like said in the media. Like it's starting to get really nuts. And I feel like we haven't gotten this as much in a while. Like people haven't bitched about me talking about cancel culture or anything, because I feel like we've really pulled back from a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I do rant about it, and I am passionate about it, is because this stuff like this is wrong. It's wrong to charge someone $45 million because he said a crazy thing on a podcast. Instead, what you should be doing is telling people, hey, he's an asshole. Don't listen to him. There shouldn't be litigation over it. It's nuts.
Yeah, even when it comes down to Twitter getting rid of them, as much as I hate it, it's like, all right, well, don't use their platform if you don't want to listen to you do what they say, you know what I mean? And but when it comes to you're on your own thing and you can't even say shit, that's where it's like a real big issue.
Trump shouldn't be off Twitter. The people who don't like Trump should be off Twitter. That's why they say it's a company. They should be able to do what they want. It's how it should be done is you don't just kick someone off your platform because you don't like them. How it should be done is Donald Trump is on Twitter. Enough people don't like following him on Twitter, so they leave the platform. The platform fails because no one wants to be on it. But that's not what happened at all. Donald Trump was on Twitter, and everyone else was on Twitter every day because they were thinking, oh, what's he going to say next? So to use, to quote Private Parts, literally, Howard Stern wouldn't exist in this model today. Like that type of edgy, offensive, shocking shit wouldn't exist because literally people were listening to see people that hated him were listening to see what hear what he said next. Now, the other argument could be how we started the show and say, well, then you wouldn't get Kid Rock, singing about statutory rape. And sure, there may be an argument there. I'll grant you that.
It was that was Kidney Rock, by the way, not Kid Rock.
I'm sorry, Kidney Rock. Well, they were both in on it. Yeah, so I don't know. It's gotten crazy out there, and that really bothered me. I know I have a vendetta against KFC, so people probably think I'm biased. But when I saw a guy that works for Barstool Sports, I thought he deserved to get so much more shit for that. Like people were all the replies were, "You're a fucking idiot," basically. But I think he deserved to get a lot more shit because as a person in the media, what Kevin said is more offensive than what Alex Jones said. What Alex Jones said is crazier And I understand, obviously, to those families, much more offensive. But to someone who does a podcast, KFC's comment is much more dangerous.
Definitely,
And
1,000%.
there's your clip that won't be clipped, by the way, because we don't have a clip guy anymore.
PGA's in here. He's trying real hard lately, so I'm sure it'll go out.
I can't steal him anymore. Kirk wants him.
He gets to start here and then he takes off.
I could groom him, yeah.
You groomed him for other people.
I sure did. I'm the Dane Cook of podcasting. In many ways.
What's the age of consent in California, by the way?
It'd be great if I knew it off the top of my head. Why do you ask? 16.
It's like the creepiest thing to Google, I think.
It sure is. Hey, Francis made a song about it. Let's just listen to that.
That's true. That's true.
By the way, I sent you. Oh God! How did I forget this? I meant to ask you all week. I refrained from asking you this because I wanted to ask you on the show. Why did you send me that Andrew Yang tweet? I couldn't make heads or tails of it.
What did I send?
Even he doesn't know. I think it's probably in our thread, probably right before those Alex Jones messages. You sent me some tweet from Andrew Yang or something.
Huh. Oh,
that's not the answer I was expecting.
Oh no, this one. Well, I sent Jerry a couple Andrew Yang ones. I didn't know if I accidentally sent you one that I was supposed to send to him.
Oh, yeah. What is this?
The one I sent you was like, I thought that's a Ruthkanda like you read about.
Oh, I didn't take it that way. Let me hear it again. Maybe I'm wrong.
Someone wearing a forward shirt, his party, and a biker riding by him yelled, "Let's go," and pumped his fist. Word is definitely getting out.
That was me, actually. It's 100% true. That was me.
Yeah. I don't buy that.
I wear my forward shirt around town as I ride.
Sure, I can see that happening, but the fact that he would be there to witness it.
All right, you know what? That's a fair. I'll grant you that he was standing there, the guy they're supporting, and no one notices him. He just happens to be looking.
Yeah, and all the people, all the bikers out there that fucking love liberal politics.
Well, that's another good. You make some good points. Maybe him and bicyclist.
Maybe that's more accurate. But the fact that imagine if he's like, "Let's go, woo! Holy shit, Andrew Yang!
Oh my God, is that Andrew Yang?
What are the odds?"
Craig, you make a good point. I didn't think of it that way. Hey, I'm a big forward party guy. Just blurting that out for no reason. Oh my goodness.
There's the leader right there.
I'm just chanting Yang Gang as I do every time I walk down the street.
Holy shit.
Do you live around here? What are the chances?
He's just like, no, I don't. He was 2 hours.
That is true. I guess if that did happen, I would act a little more surprised than Andrew did, I suppose.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Like, everyone, you're not going to believe me, but
you know what has zero traction? The forward party.
I disagree. I'm a member of the forward party.
I like Andrew Yang, but I'm also like, yeah, no one believes in your party, sir.
I do. I think he's got some, he does some good stuff.
Yeah. They can't even get
I was listening to his book a little bit last night, as a matter of fact.
Which book is that?
Forward, it's called.
No.
I was wearing my T-shirt, and I happened to go to the kitchen for a beverage, and who's standing there?
I was just gonna say, you went to put the bedside light out, and whose hand was already on the switch for you? It was
Andrew Yang.
What are you doing in my bedroom?
Entrepreneur and politician.
And then he goes, "Do you mind if I tweet this out?"
Andy, I don't know. I thought it was a moment between us, but go for it.
Yeah, if someone was like, "Woohoo, let's go to the shirt I was wearing," and I looked to my left and Andrew Yang just was there, is more believable than Andrew Yang.
I suppose my jaw would drop if I happened to be walking down the street and not one but two people were celebrating the Blind Mike Project.
And then me and you tabletop him. Like I kneel down behind him and you shove him.
We should just hang around Box Eating Dad's neighborhood, and just so we can do that.
One of these days.
Now I've said it on air, so we'll have to do it to someone else. But
Yeah, find McFuss Daddy. Go to Georgia, see his racist dog.
I apologize. I apologize to Craig because I read that thinking, why the fuck would he send me this? And now I see perfectly. It makes complete sense.
I had blinders on. I missed it. I'm sorry.
I had my Andrew Yang glasses on, but
Yeah, I completely forgot I sent that because I was like, there's been like 4 tweets I've sent from him recently about how he was like, this is bullshit that the Trump raid happened. So I'm like, why would
he's been good on that.
Yeah, so I was like, why the fuck would I send that to Mike?
Yeah. Oh, you know who's got a great Twitter? I retweeted the gentleman last night. Let's go to Rob Schneider's Twitter and see what he's up to. I would say go to the one that I retweeted, but based on my brief research, you could just pick a day and he's tweeting things like that.
Oh, like severe right-wing politics?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, well, let's give the people a taste of what Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo, is tweeting about.
The silencing and demonizing of political opponents and now the unprecedented raid on the former president brings our nation one step further away from a peaceful republic and one step closer to tyranny. What follows is the inevitable barbarism and bloodshed of war.
You can do it!
That's a bit much.
Yes, he followed that up with making copies.
Making copies. Oh, yeah, no, I'm scrolling through. There's a ton.
I mean, people are allowed to have opinions, but the phrase "stay in your lane" exists for a reason,
Here's a good one. Do you see the video of Biden forgetting Schumer shook his hand already?
Yes. Yeah.
So Schneider quote tweeted that and said, "This is no longer acceptable. This is a national threat. Forget climate change. This guy's brain no longer works."
At least there's an element of humor there. Like it's a comedian trying to be funny. But this is why I love Ari Shaffir. Is he has said he's speaking of ordering your listeners. This is something he did order his listeners to do. He says anytime you see a comedian tweet something serious, just reply, "I don't get it." Like, what's the joke? I don't understand. because you listen, I know people are going to have opinions, blah, 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 but it is very weird for the guy who starred in such films as The Hot Chick and The Animal to be like, well, now let's get serious for a minute, folks.
Both great flicks.
Rob Schneider is a carrot.
He is the stapler. What's
by the way, what are those guys doing tonight? So I think our boy Carl is at that live show. They're doing some show at Red Rocks. Have you seen that?
Matt and Trey?
Yeah, it's like a 25th anniversary show.
Of South Park?
Yeah.
No shit.
But I'm very curious. Maybe I'll ask Carl when he gets back. Because I'm very curious what they're going to do for like a live show. Are they just screening an episode? Because they're not like stand-ups. Or are they going to do performances?
It was something about a movie, right? Matt Parker and Trey Stone talked 25 years or so.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that aspect of it. So they wanted to, they were just talking about this to the LA Times, I think it was. Before the pandemic, they wanted to make a movie and use this deep fake technology, and they were going to deep fake Donald Trump. And the movie was going to be about a guy whose life was ruined because he looks exactly like Donald Trump. Which is a hilarious. Imagine it's just Donald Trump with fucking, basically Mr. Garrison's voice.
That'd be very funny.
Because it's just going to be one of their voices.
Right. It's a concert.
So it sounded like a brilliant idea, but they said they put it on hold because it was super timely, and now the time has kind of passed, so they'd have to figure out a new way to do it.
Now to celebrate the series' 25th birthday, Parker and Stone are coming full circle with a concert filmed at Red Rocks Amphitheater near Denver, headlined by Primus and alternative rockers Ween. The concert, which will debut on Comedy Central and streaming service Paramount on August 13th and 14th, respectively, will feature musical numbers from the series' history. Oh, maybe they're just gonna.
Oh, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. So like there's gonna be a lot of the movie played because that's where I feel like most songs came from.
Right. Yeah.
Imagine they can sell at Red Rocks.
It's crazy, but good for those guys. I mean, they did as much as any show creators do. They deserve the $1 billion they've made.
Oh, for sure. For sure. They're worth so much dumb money.
They're geniuses, really.
Didn't they just sell like almost $1 billion or sign an almost $1 billion deal
That's what I was referring to. Yeah.
on top of what they already had?
Yeah. So they got basically, I think maybe more than what Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David got
I think so.
when they signed over their syndication rights. Or Jerry might still have his syndication rights, but yeah, I think they may have gotten more. I'm not sure. Or pretty close to it. But go to blindmike.net, folks, if you'd like to support the show. We appreciate it. You can support the show on Patreon financially. You can also get our merch. Right now, Joe Rogan is berating me on his podcast, but I'm going to ignore that and tell you to buy a Gearhead bucket hat because that makes the most sense as a personality on Twitter.
Yeah, do it.
So you can support us financially with the Patreon and our merch, or if you say, listen, I like you, Mike, but not that much, then support the show for free if you could. Boost that algorithm by giving us 5-star reviews everywhere, liking, subscribing, going to the YouTube, commenting, all that stuff helps the algorithm, and it's a free way to support the show. So help us out. Blindmike.net is where you can get that. Verygoodshow.org
That's
is
the
where you can
one.
get the Craigster. And go support Craig because he's the only guy I've got now. It's just me and him against the world.
See, never left. Never left. Never
It's
going.
depressing.
Yeah, sure.
Someday I'll
fine.
just be in a room. Alba has left me. Everyone's gone from my life. It's just me and Craig.
It's like, hey, bud.
Hello.
The Warthog's with Klemmer now. Oh, yeah, fuck. He's actually in
Yeah.
the chat.
The Warthog?
Yeah, he just said concert.
Spying on me, I'm sure. You know,
Yeah.
Mike said mean things about you. Reporting. He's a double agent.
Oh, that's very funny. He's the most unsuspecting double agent, too.
Like, that's what frankly makes him so suspect.
Mm.
That's what's
Come on,
you know,
Warthog.
kind of that's what's made me keen to him on since day one, really.
He said, I don't care for this.
Well, what can I tell you? No, support the Warthog as well at warthog.biz.
Something to do with the 95 Mariners, I think.
That was the other thing that bugs me. Well, I tuned into that 95 Mariners thing because he did it the other night. And by the way, first time in a month that he's done it. And could you imagine, like, that thing has like monthly subscribers and people that subscribe for 3 months or whatever. Could you imagine if I just didn't show up for a month, how annoyed these people would be?
Oh, man. Did they get charged still, or did he shut that off?
I've seen Box Eating Dad on Twitter threaten to fuck faces. He would turn on me real quick.
Oh, boy.
If just for a month, I was like, hey, keep giving me your money. But
yeah, boxing dad's ready to cut your Achilles because you don't like the drops I play.
See? Did he just say that?
No,
I'm looking over my shoulder for this guy all the time.
Where is he?
But I popped in there the other night and he said something to the effect of like, there was some commenter named Blind Theater Near Me or something like that. And Chris reads it and he goes, Blind Theater Near Me? What? Wow. That's a combination of a lot of things. And it seemed like he was about to say, like, that's a KMS reference, but, like, he didn't. And it's like, really, dude, do you think anyone in this chat right now doesn't know what that's a combination of? Like, you're behaving weird to me.
Yeah, he's in like a salvageable spot still, I think, where if he just fucking turns it around with that, but I feel like that's going to annoy certain people coming up if he keeps blatantly ignoring their existence.
It's weird. Yeah, it's very weird. But, it's
Although
easier when you're on, I'm willing to admit this. It's easier when you're on the outside looking in. It's easy for me to criticize Brendan Schaub and Stuttering John and Chris Klemmer, these types. But then when it happens to me, I get sensitive about it too. So I understand that part.
I had to unsubscribe immediately from Klemmer once he betrayed us. Come on. Montante and I bullied him for his bets, and he had a hissy fit once.
Who's saying that?
Box
I
eating
don't
dad.
reveal their identity. I don't want the wrath of Klemmer.
Box eating dad. Actually, Montante did tell me what he suggested he do, and it made more sense than picking favorites all day.
What he suggest? Who? Phrase that differently. What do you mean?
I forget exactly what Montante said, but he told me this bet that he said that Klemmer should do instead of this parlay in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
All he does is pick favorites, and he's like, man, here's a doozy for you. 2 heavy favorites.
Right, yeah.
So,
The Yankees will beat the Cincinnati Reds today.
but I don't know.
My Yankees have been scuffling a little bit.
Red Sox are horrible.
That's for another program. Why don't we go out with a Rob Schneider doozy? Do we have another one lined up?
I thought that was gonna be a perfect segue to this Pete Rose video.
Oh, I forgot about that. Fuck. I was gonna leave you with a. You know what? Okay. Here's what we'll do. We'll talk Pete Rose, and we'll close out with a Rob Schneider clip, and get any comments in before that, because that's when we're leaving. Deal?
Deal.
All right. So Pete Rose, who I didn't, I must have known this, I guess, but I guess forgot or just never knew that Pete Rose was on the Phillies when they won the World Series. So they brought him back for like.
Timeout.
What?
This is so he was gonna Montante's suggestion was, and Box Eating Dad's suggestion to Chris for his bet was stream the game on that thing he uses the 95 Mariners for and place his bet off of that game.
They're kind of stealing my idea.
I don't know what your idea was.
No, I'm kidding. I think what I said, obviously they're not stealing my idea, but it is similar. I think what I said was, oh no, you know what my idea was? My idea was worse because it involved an app that doesn't exist anymore. But I thought the Play Barstool app was still in existence. And I was like, why doesn't he just stream on there and other people place bets on the 95 Mariners?
That's a good idea too.
Right. But I don't think I don't know if they use that app anymore or not.
Well, they can just use Barstool Sportsbook now.
Right. Yeah.
They could. He could stream it, but if he streams the Mets game that night, that day, so people go and they watch him do it, whatever, and then they can bet on whatever the starting pitcher is. How many strikeouts did he get? Oh, I can bet on that during this game and see how close. Like that's way better than, like I said, picking heavy favorites.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is I was actually walking down the street the other day, and 2 guys were talking to each other, and I overheard them say, "Have you ever noticed Mike Geary, Mike Montante, and Box Eating Dad have similar ideas?" And the other guy said, "Well, look at my Gearhead shirt. Of course I know that." I didn't say anything. I just tweeted about it. But
and those people just heard click, clack, click, and they turn. They're like,
as I tap by. Nothing to see here, folks.
You just do your hello.
All right. Now, Pete Rose, big day. They said, hey, let's celebrate Pete Rose today at what's the Phillies' new stadium called?
I don't know. A lot of money.
Lincoln Financial or something? No, that's the Eagles.
That's the Eagles, yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is. They're in Philly. And, maybe more offensive than him saying, like, it was 50 years ago, you dumb broad.
Citizens Bank, by the way.
Citizens Bank, that's it. Let's play this. Let's play this clip. So I guess Pete Rose went on to the Phillies broadcast and listen to how just these stiff broadcasters react to a genuine madman in the booth.
Joe said, Tony, congratulations. What did you hit? And Tony says, Joe, I hit a cock-high fastball. And Joe didn't know what to say. Joe said, no shit.
That's looped out to right field.
You changed that loop out to right field.
I'm just describing the action.
I'm pretty sure we don't have a
looped out to right field. Nothing bizarre just happened here in Philadelphia.
You hit a cock-high fastball.
Now, I'll grant them, it sounds like you might be thinking he must have said cockeye at first. And then he said what he said, they hit the shit out of it or whatever, or no shit, whatever he said. That's when you have to react in some way. Like, Pete, Jesus.
How hammered was he? That'd be great if he wasn't.
Pete Rose is like, you can walk into your local bowling alley right now and find the equivalent of Pete Rose drunk, just sitting at the bar. The difference is they aren't the greatest hitter of all time.
Correct.
Like, Pete Rose is just your everyday drunken madman, except he's also the hit king. But I just love, that's almost a Tom Brenneman moment where, like, you have this weird thing happening and he's a fly ball to right field. It's a shame we don't have the 7-second delay. Can you be a human for once? What is stopping you as a play-by-play guy? What do you sign over to them? To the powers that be?
What is the radio station going to lose because he said that?
Well, technically, I think that violates FCC law, so you could be fined. I think it's $100,000
For the one word?
You can be, yeah.
That's crazy.
Now what would probably save them is I'm guessing they're on cable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they're bound by the same, 7 dirty words and all that. But, but the real, sure, that was all fun and games. But then my, I hate to say my favorite part, but the most entertaining part of Pete Rose's day was when people said, "Hey, Pete, didn't you get fired from Fox because of allegations of fucking a minor?"
Oh yeah.
And what was the Hit King's response to that?
Hold on, let me grab that.
I think she was. If the Warthog's in the chat, he'll know exactly how old the school was.
It was like 55 years ago. Was his response or something?
Yeah.
Right.
He said, "Listen, it was 55 years ago, babe."
That's right. It was 55 years ago, babe.
Like that he's doing Dennis Miller as he answers to child fucking allegations. Okay, babe.
Oh, babe.
He's like, "Listen, hey, Pete, did you fuck a 12-year-old? What do you want from me? It was ages ago. You still remember that?
She's still alive.
Are you still hung up on that kid fucking story after 5.5 decades? Come on, I'm an old bag of bones now. Come on. Let bygones be bygones."
It was 55 years ago.
Yeah, she's certainly legal now, so what are you crying about?
I bet she doesn't even remember. That's great.
Oh, Pete. He's I hate to say American treasure, but he's something.
Why won't they let me in the Hall of Fame?
All right. Does the chat have anything to say before we hear from Rob Schneider and get out of here?
I closed out the thing. Let me pull up his Twitter again. But they are saying Citizens Bank. No, nothing. Oh, Klemmer's a complete social climber.
I mean, it happens every time to the point where you asked me why I don't, not you, Craig, but the royal you people, ask me why I'm not fighting with Kirk all the time. The guy's always right. He said, I bet Klemmer's going to go there and, like have conversations such as, yeah, I was on that show. Like, he's fucking nuts, but, I did what I had to do to get here. And I heard that and said, no chance that happens. Kirk was right again. That's to a T how it's happened. And that's what's bugged me because, like, I liked Chris in the or whatever. I like him in the interactions I've had with him. So it bugs me to see him behave in the way that he is. And maybe, it's because he's new to doing this as a job. And, certainly took me a while to adjust to. So I get it. But it is very strange to have that going on today and tweet about Barstool merch. Like they need Chris's help with that, by the way.
And you think, if he can tweet about that.
We only sold 50 units until Chris's Twitter got involved.
I'm saying if he say something happened though, he tweets out the shirt thing, then he interacts with the show today, and it blows up. And more people from Barstool go check out his profile because obviously everyone from this end knows him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So it's very unusual, but perhaps we can get a little wisdom from the great Rob Schneider. Perhaps he can teach us something about this nation.
Asian Americans are the last ethnic group that universities can legally discriminate against. I have a feeling this is about to end. As an American and as an Asian American, I am grateful this is being heard by the Supreme Court Justice. The Supreme Court.
What a hoot.
Yeah.
Chew on that, folks. We'll see you next time.
On the there it is.
I hope to hear from you soon. Until then, have yourself